thousands of dollars settled. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Manner, and if you continue, I will be asked as chair for you to leave this chamber.
For answers. We're constituents that you
Ask you to refrain from conducting yourself in all manners as chair. I'm asking you to leave council chamber, please.
So has the
This is a
mayor.
democratic body. We need to continue in our deliberations.
You're using your abuse of power.
Thank you.
No, sir.
The People's Chamber will continue its deliberations. We're on to 6.1. The vacancy of the office of councillor of Ward 8. A motion to receive report FCS 25030. Moved by Councillor Spadafora, seconded by Councillor Manning. Any discussions on this memo? Recognizing Councillor Clark.
So, just trying to understand exactly when we call a by-election.
Ask the clerk to summarize the intent of the memo and the report that will be forthcoming. Thank you.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, the legislation requires us to declare a seat vacant at the first meeting after an individual steps into a new office or resigns their role. This memo is advising of the bylaw being on this agenda. At the June 11th GIC meeting, I will have the report forward that will present the options to GIC and the council as to whether or not to proceed with an appointment process or a by-election.
You're welcome. On this item?
I haven't had a chance to publicly thank Councillor Deco for his service to the City of Hamilton in the role of councillor in his ward. And I know that there are challenges right now because folks are feeling unrepresented, and so I'm very respectful of that challenge. And I think probably that's something, and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, that Councillor Clark is probably concerned about for my staff to step up and work with the staff that are still remaining in the office for the Councillor Nichols' position. So please do reach out to the Mayor's office. We will work collaboratively to try to serve the needs of those folks who don't have a councillor right now. And in posing just to say, looking forward to working with Councillor Danko as a federal member to further the concerns and issues that the City of Hamilton faces. Federal government key partner in resolving, and he knows all those issues, and so I'm very hopeful that he will be beneficial. It's critical, and this is a non-partisan comment. It's not partisan at all. He's our MP now for that ward with deep knowledge of our city, and I hope that will be helpful and a small success. Thank you.
Any further speakers to this? Seeing none, I need a vote of hands, please. Thank you, that carries. On to 6.2, PW 25035A, Street Tree Planting Program Improvements. Lessons learned, additional information. A motion to receive, moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor. Any further speakers? Any speakers to this item? Seeing none. A vote of show of hands, please. Thank you, that carries. Okay, thank you. We are on to committee recommendations. 7.1, Councillor Spadafora, may I please have a motion to receive the voting member of the Hamilton Farmers Market minutes of May 14th of this year.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Ted McMeekin, that HFMS 25-02 meeting the minutes of the sole voting member of the Hamilton Farmers Market meeting held on Wednesday, May 14, 2025, be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved.
Thank you, Councillor. I understand, Councillor Crutch, is there an amending motion coming forward to 7.1?
There is, as I said, when we met as council to discuss this, I do bring an amendment forward to this item, and seconded by Councillor Klang, and I think put up on the screen. The last we could just have the detail, just a very brief summary here of the motion. This is to allow us to hire the consultant that we previously engaged. As identified, we don't have the staffing available to to take on this work of implementing the governance. And I want to be really clear about this. It's not about the future vision of the Hamilton Farmers Market. It's not about the operational side of this. It's about implementing the governance plan. They don't have to be focused on staff work because this was supposed to have happened in the last term of council, essentially. Didn't. And then that staff's now been doing some other work. So we need to hire a consultant. This allows us to do that. And that's what the amending motion is for. It's on the screen. Here's Councillor Klein. Thank you.
Thank you. Speakers to amending motion. I'll recognize Councillor Clark first. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just get clarification from staff that there was funding approved in the last council to pay for this?
I beg your pardon. Chief Real Estate Officer, Mr. Kessler.
Yes, through the chair, Ray Kessler, Chief Corporate Real Estate Officer. There was funding for the study that led to the recommendations that were in front of the several weeks ago. The funding that is part of this motion is new funding because the work that was contemplated here was not originally scheduled to be done by consultant.
So what's this new study?
So through the chair, we don't have a specific cost for procurement reasons. We are not really allowed to engage the consultant in the dialogue. We have an estimate at this point in time, and as part of the motion, what we are looking at is an upset amount, including contingencies, just to ensure that we have sufficient funding. If the motion is approved as it's currently stated, then staff will certainly negotiate a contract that is satisfactory to the needs of the work to be undertaken.
So we're being asked to approve a position without a funding cap.
Is that to Luber or to staff?
So anybody, it's unusual for us to just here hire a consultant, spend what you want.
Briefly answer that, the amendment says not to exceed $200,000. My understanding is that that won't be, that won't be a consultant now to get a more specific number, so we're putting that higher value, so it's not to exceed it. Something we've done many times before when having social operations, but my understanding is it won't be quite that high. There is a not to exceed $200,000.
Mayor Horvath.
Thanks, I appreciate the opportunity. Just want from the engagement of the consultant, as was identified by the mover, is to have some oversight around the development of the new governance model for the farmers market. Is that correct?
The amendment speaks to the implementation of it. So what we've done right now, by engaging the same consultants just moments ago, frankly, to just wrap up their contract, was to have them do governance, look at the Hamilton Farmers Market. This will allow them to now come back and implement. We didn't have a plan with details about exactly how it's going to work, so when we get the nuts and bolts of it, in terms of all the member, the board, staff, and so on, someone has to actually come up with a plan for how we're going to implement it. So right now the recommendation is that we change what we're doing, and that recommendation was already before the sole shareholder. And this is to actually make the plan happen.
Okay, thanks through you, Deputy Mayor. I really appreciate the explanation. And I would only say the one thing that struck me was the operating committee, which, challenging if you have more of a professional body, which is my understanding that this is attempting to perhaps problematic. We don't want to see any friction between the professional operation of farmers outside of the voices with the appointees from the vendors.
I cannot.
He's treating her like a daughter right now.
Don't be ashamed of yourself. City. Water and waste. Silent. 20 couldn't shut up about it. Now you're silent.
Theatricals? No, you don't pay. So it's like $20 or something. Plus. That'll work.
I find
I've been here 19
years, eh? And what?
years.
We appreciate work plan.
And what do you?
Flyer.
Qualified people.
Read the
And
flyer.
that you owe these 54. Talking about trees. Listen. Lay it out for you. It was a coming running again. So you guys felt it. on the, I called him time. Finally, not discussing this.
Of an amending motion. On the amending motion, Councillor Cratchit.
Just briefly wanted to respond to that, to let the mayor know that part of the reason the operating committee exists is actually to solve that very problem. What happened in the board for a very long time was that operational concerns were coming to the board that weren't appropriate. And so this is one standing committee we've had for a while now that's actually helped where staff, vendors, members of the board all get together and talk about some things. An example of something that comes up is issues we have with our loading dock. There's been a lot of problems with the loading dock because of the tight space that's there and the way that it works and functions. And so instead of trying to have those conversations at a board level, which should be different strategic conversations, those have now happened in the operating committee and it can make recommendations to the board. So we just wanted to instantiate it there so that it was a part of the standing committees. And that was one of the things we recommended, just so that it continues to go forward. No matter what other committees exist. It's been around for a while, just to be clear. It's not something brand new, but we're just trying to make sure that it works a little more effectively. And then in the future, it'll be part of a governing relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pauls, please.
Thank you, and quickly to the chair, I just want to ask what the difference. Last term, I was on the board, and I'm wondering what was the difference between last consultation we had and the consultation that we're having now, and how many more are we going to have? Thank you.
If it's okay, I can let you know what's happening with that.
Sure, you know, I just want to know the difference.
Sure, so I'm happy to tell you really briefly. I think we talked about this at our last shareholder meeting, but I'll recap quickly. This is the governance review. The first part of it started in the last term of council, and then everyone decided to pause the governance review to ensure we had a vision for the market. And briefly, everyone said, look, we're making decisions about the governance, but we don't have a vision for the future direction of the market. We can't do governance until we have a future direction in place. So we paused the governance review.
Thank you, Greg. Now you gonna throw the rest of us out?
We know your job's more important than ours. We only provide water.
We're in recess, please.
Good. We're all on recess.
One at a time. You guys have questions for us? Can I get you a Louis? No?
What's in that room? No, just silence.
What's in there? We do vote for you guys, so. Where's Nick Winters? Did he left?
Even the Hamilton police are on our side, just so you know.
I'm wrong.
They didn't want to take Greg out of here.
When are you going to realize this is not wrong?
Take another recess?
Apparently this is where you waste time. I've been retired.
Every one of you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Unless you support us. Unless you support us. You can raise your voice at any time if you support us. Obviously, you don't. Nothing to say.
The question that I have for you guys, why are not everybody there?
Apply a job for somewhere else in the city,
Yeah.
rather than addressing
Tommy.
the issue on
Let's stay on.
Why they're not all in there? It's your job to be sitting there, not at home making cookies. How the hell do I can work from home? All through COVID, you need to flush the toilet. And your kids and your grandkids. So you can't come in here that you're getting paid 2 times more than me, even 3. And it's too much for you to show up to work. And I gotta go every morning at 5:30 till 5, 10, 12 hours every day. 2 years ago, I was the only mechanic in the whole goddamn city.
Yes, you were.
Only one.
Because you guys don't pay enough.
Because you don't pay enough. Nobody wants to work. But you can't come to your job. Well, I can.
And once again, silence for everybody.
Easily forget we're essential during COVID. That was COVID. COVID's over. We're no longer essential.
One of us reported every day during the COVID crisis. We were key in pulling samples, providing, so that country of Canada was supplying their laboratories with information that they could predict and keep our country safe. No mention of it.
We were taking
Yeah,
COVID
and
samples.
yet We're
We were
paid,
taking samples to see if there was COVID in the
$4 an
wastewater.
hour less than the guys who were driving around lifting man.
We didn't know if we were going to get it.
That's what this is all about, you guys. All we're asking for is the same as what you're already paying other people doing a job within the city, with lesser qualifications and lesser licenses. Guys, this is a no-brainer. This is ridiculous that you even put this in a position.
Good
It is
afternoon.
ridiculous that you're
This is
sacrificing
the
the
May
safety of your
28th,
city by doing
2025 meeting of Hamilton City Council. We are coming out of short recess. We are on 7.1, Hamilton Farmers Market report.
Oh, that's more.
And
That's
we
more.
have
The farmer's market is more important.
Way more.
Yep.
Councillor Pauls, you still have the floor unless you have concluded your questions.
I don't know, so everything's good. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
No,
Councillor.
thank you.
Um,
Used to be free parking there
Councillor Clark.
years ago. You go and shop for a farmer's market.
Ms. Horvath, you used to be in support of unions.
I'd like to speak to
You don't
item
seem to be anymore.
I.
DI.
DI ensures vendors still have a place on the Hamilton Farmers Market Board by creating 2 non-voting members.
Please proceed.
The challenge that I have is the entire process with regards to the governance review was to clarify roles and responsibilities. The board of directors are responsible for the farmers market. The vendors are members of the vendors association, and the vendors association can communicate back and forth with the board. By designating 2 members from the vendors association to the board, you're now creating the very same conflict that we are trying to avoid, so I cannot support DI.
Maybe we gotta get
Like
a
a vote
vendor,
separate on the
get
list.
the farmer's market, get a booth.
Councilors of the city of Hamilton, you are the owners of the water treatment plant. You are ultimately
Thank you,
responsible
Deputy
for
Mayor.
the
So
health
we're
and
currently
safety.
dealing with Councilor Crutch's amendment on the floor. Once that's been considered, we could then
Have a separate vote on
have a
that.
separate vote on that section.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Ms. Horvath has a sore arm. She can't walk to work.
Order, please, in this chamber so that the body can have clear deliberations and that the public can hear us clearly. And we can be held accountable.
Well, we hear you loud and clear.
To anybody else on the amendment? Seeing none, we can have an electronic vote on that, please, and thank you. Vote is in.
Do be aware, you are all responsible as owners of that water treatment facility, the safety and well-being of the citizens of Hamilton. Who put you in your
Thank you, that carries
position?
13 to
You're
1.
not doing your
We're
job
back
by
to the
allowing it to be
report
ran
as
by
amended, and I believe
unqualified,
there's a request for a separate vote.
underqualified operators.
Could you kindly
Your
identify?
responsibility.
that?
You have people sleeping at the water treatment plant
So
and
a
the
separate
wastewater
vote
plant
has
right
been
now.
requested for G on the
Sleeping,
report.
because there's only 3 guys that know what they're doing in there.
Any questions?
I'll just
Well,
advise
I want
Deputy
to
Mayor
have
that it
another
was G
breakdown.
in the minutes, but after the amendment it changed to G. So
Keep
it's
ignoring us.
DI.
All right, thank you.
And I have it on the screen for everybody to see what they're voting on separately.
Councillor Critch, on this item's pulled out, please proceed.
Thanks, I understand Councillor Clark's concern. When we looked at this through the governance review process, the consultant identified that the reason why vendors found themselves in a conflict of interest was that matters before the board with respect to vendors were being voted on by vendors. And so that was the main conflict of interest. It wasn't that they shouldn't have voice or couldn't participate. We've also seen the Vendors Association change slightly in the last couple of years in terms of it being more active and having, their roles with the president, vice president, or chair, vice chair it might be. And the vendors on the board currently sit there said, we understand that we may not be able to be here formally to be part of the formal governance process and to vote on things and have a say in that manner, but we want to be able to come and be at the table to speak. Like we have for many of other subcommittees, like LRT, for instance, where we can vote, but they get to be present at the table and have comments and commentary. I don't think it's a conflict for them, for people to be speaking on matters. Any matters to do with specific vendor issues will be handled on camera, and those vendors would not be permitted to be there in those discussions. So that's the understanding I have from the governance review, is that it does separate these things out. The non-voting allows people to still participate in the open session of the meeting, but doesn't create conflict for them. Just like, I think, again, same thing with the LRT subcommittee as an example. We have many people who are going to be impacted by the LRT, like BIAs, etc. They're all around the table and can ultimately comment on things, but don't get necessarily to weigh in on the decision itself. So I understand the concern, but I think this doesn't really fly afoul of what we're trying to do and respects the fact that vendors have been part of the market community for hundreds of years at this point.
I invite you all to call the 3 people that are working inside the wastewater treatment plant right now. 3 superintendents.
And so that
And ask them questions.
Deliberations order in this chamber. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Well, you won't. You don't care.
It is not good governance to
No, it's
have
not.
a board of directors running the farmers market and to have the vendors sitting on the same board, even if they're non-voting. There will be disagreements around that table, and there will be potential for interference to the board's due diligence. It is not appropriate. When I supported this in the very beginning, I made it very clear that there would be a board of governors, and then there would be a vendors association. And the vendors association can absolutely delegate to the board of directors, but they cannot sit around the table and participate in the directions and the discussions. Even if they're non-voting, it creates some serious issues with the governance structure. I cannot support it.
Thank you. Any further deliberations on this item? We'll be taking a vote separately, just so you know. Then we'll go back to the farmers market report as a whole, as amended. Okay. And again on this, Councillor Crouch, please.
Respectfully, I understand the position that Councillor Clark is taking with respect to governance. As the chair of the Hamilton Farmers Market, I can tell you from experience that I think this is a balanced approach to resolving issues you have in front of us. I do think, again, there's many examples of where this is the case. So we can disagree on it, that's okay, we can do so agreeably. I'm also somebody who prides himself on being somebody who cares about governance quite a bit. We can see this issue differently and we disagree, and I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. No further speakers on the item separately, then back to the report as amended. On the item separately, a vote please. Thank you, that carries 10 to 4. Back to HF and S 25-002 as amended, please. Thank you, that carries 13 to 1. Okay, and before we get to 7.2, which is our Public Works Committee, Clerk Trenham, could you please advise this chair what our procedural bylaw says pertaining to signs in the chamber?
Deputy Mayor, the procedural bylaw states in section 8.6, signs or placards are permitted at council and committee meetings, provided A, that they do not contain disrespectful or offensive language, they do not disrupt the meeting, they do not disrupt an attendee's ability to view the proceedings, and they do not contain solid handles or hard backings.
All good.
My ruling is that the signs that are presently up in the chamber are disrupting the ability of some members on this floor to see staff and the attendees, and I would ask those with signs to either move back or they're not disrupting the view to take them down.
We're not moving anywhere.
Is anyone's view disrupted?
And keep order in this chamber, please, so the deliberations can continue unfettered. Thank you. That is my ruling. If you could please put the signs down so that all members of the public can have a full view of these proceedings.
We can
It's
all
part
see.
of our democratic.
The public needs to see this too. We
On
can
to
see.
7.2, PWC 25-006, the Public Works Committee meeting of May the 20th, 2025. Councillor Pauls, may I please have a motion to receive and approve the recommendations within the Public Works Committee minutes of May 20th, 2025, and receive the correspondence items.
Thank you, Chair. That the Public Works 25-006 being held the minutes of the Public Work Committee meeting held on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, item 7.2 be received and the recommendation contained there be approved, and that the following correspondent items be received. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. That has been duly moved and seconded. I would ask Councillor Spatafora to please assume the chair. I have a slight amendment to item 7.4, which is respecting report PW 25035 street tree planting program improvements.
Councillor Wilson, please introduce your amendment.
Thank you. I'm looking for it at present. If I could ask the clerk to kindly put it up on the screen. In essence, I'm just asking for a report back on to measure our success in getting the trees planted in the public right-of-way. and also to provide us with a record of the number of deferrals that are registered by ward.
Thank you,
And
Councillor.
I'm fishing for a second.
Councillor Wang is the seconder. I believe, sorry, Councillor, are you finished? Yeah, good. Councillor Clark, I believe, is on the list, or is that from previous lists? Separate item, okay. Anybody on the amendment? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. That carries 14-0. Deputy Mayor Wilson, you can see the check.
You guys understand how
Thank you very much,
pathetic this is,
Councillor.
right?
Any further discussion on PW, Public Works? Yes, Councillor Clark. Item, please.
Item 6.1, Deputy Mayor. Item 6.1 is a delegation who presented with regards to encroachment of property at 94th Kingsview Drive, and I had indicated to the committee that I would be speaking to it as the council. I've done a little bit of research on encroachment issues in my ward over the last 5 years, Deputy Mayor. Ward 9 has had 135 attempted encroachments onto city property. 6 having buildings, sheds, garage, decking. The remainder were mostly fencing and landscaping, with some even yardways dumping into city parks. All of the decisions by staff using their delegated authority without any appeals to the committee. In all cases, my office supported the staff decision. During the discussions with regards to the building on Kingsview, there was questions asked with regards to permits and planning applications being received during the pandemic. My research has revealed that council had, staff had a frequently asked questions on our webpage for development approvals during the pandemic, and it was last updated July 6, 2020. That particular document in itself said very clearly who do you contact with regards to a building permit matter, and it gave a phone number. The phone number was being monitored, and people who were calling, calls were returned. Staff advised me about this particular property that there's many challenges with regards to the building being on city property. Part of it is that the land on which the building was built is zoned A, Conservation Open Space Park and Recreation, under the Hamilton Zoning Bylaw 6593, and in the Open Space Urban Hamilton Official Plan. So neither the zoning bylaw or the official plan permits the building of this single detached dwelling in the rear of the property, regardless of the fact that it's on city property. The above application's fees, if the individual wanted to proceed, would be to seek a formal consultation, an official plan amendment, a zoning amendment, and the cost for that alone would be $86,720. So if council is considering the sale of
1/3 of what you need to get us back to work.
That's right.
Order in the chamber, please.
No, we're not gonna have order in the chamber. You guys throw me out.
Order in this
Throw me out.
chamber, please.
Throw me
Councillor
out.
Clark, you have the floor still.
So if council is considering the sale of the property to the resident, there would be a requirement to change the zoning and the official plans. While I clarified at the last Public Works meeting that there is an appeal process through the committee, consistency is key to avoiding an appearance of bias. This council has heard me several times point to common law requirements that governments and agencies must be procedurally fair in their deliberations and adjudication of appeals. While the resident made statements to me and to the Public Works Committee that he made several attempts at contacting staff to secure a building permit, his statements strained credulity when I considered the frequently asked questions that were placed in the city's webpage in 2020, to which many residents filed applications for home improvements, not only in my ward, but across the city. Finally, it is not lost on me that the council policy is to clear encampment structures from parks, and the same should apply to any structure that has been built by residents on the city park land. Therefore, given all of the above information, and I'd be happy to share my research with councillors, I cannot support any motion overturning staff's delegated authority, and I appreciate all the work that they put in. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further speakers on 6.1? Seeing none. We're back to PW as a whole. Would anyone like to speak to an item? I see none. So we'll have a vote, please.
Anything over here? Yes.
Excuse me? Councillor McBeacon, could you hit your mic? Thank you.
Just clarity, what?
Guy doesn't even know how to run a microphone. 300,000 a year.
Order, please.
I'm on the microphone now, so I'm assuming that a yes vote is in support of the staff recommendation.
There was no staff recommendation, Councillor. It was an information report because all, it was fully within the delegated authority that staff exercised in this regard. Councillor Clark was just bringing it up so he could speak to it.
Okay, so what are we voting on?
We're going back to the minutes as a whole. Thank you. Okay, so we're back to the minutes as a whole. There are no further speakers on the item. Public Works minutes of May 20th. Thank you, electronic vote.
Oh, yeah, nothing else to talk about.
As amended.
As amended.
This is about a private pool house built on public land, just so you know. 400,000 spent on a private pool house by some rich guy. And he wants permission to buy the land.
Thank you. Thank you. No problem. We have already done AF&A.
This is going to be the most watched council meeting in history. You know that, right?
To the ECS 25-005.
Your silence speaks
Community
volumes.
Services meeting of May 22nd. Councillor Clark, may I please have a motion to receive and approve the recommendations within ECS committee minutes of May 22nd?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron Cretch of the ECS 25-005 being the minutes of the Emergency and Community Services Committee meeting held on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, item 7.5 on today's agenda be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak to any of those items? Seeing none, we'll have an electronic vote, please, on those minutes. The vote is up. Thank you. That carries 14-0. We're on to 7.6 and 12.4, PLC, Planning Committee of May 23rd. Councillor Wang, may I please have a motion to receive, approve the recommendations within that?
Yes, Deputy Mayor, moved by myself, seconded by Vice Chair Mark Tattison, that PLC 25007 being the open session minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on Friday, May 23rd, 2025, be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved. And B, that the closed session minutes of the Planning Committee held on Friday, May 23rd, item 12.4 be approved as presented and remain confidential. And C, that the following correspondence items be received. Correspondence from Karen and C. Carlina and a local resident in opposition of 1494. Upper Wellington Development Proposal, Caroline Houston, Janet Bard, and Jim McCallum, Sophie Matzos, Dr. Peter Edmondson, Italo DiPietro, Rick Pendrick, and Laura S. Chalet, respecting minute item 12.1, report LS 25011, appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal for lands located at 1494 Upper Wellington Street for lack of decision by zoning bylaw amendment in Ward 8. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cassar.
So far, you spent $900,000 on a church, $400,000 on a pool house, and you can't come up with $300 grand to get the 52 workers in this room back to work.
Ensure that
What the hell is going on here?
facility.
Councillor Cassar.
You guys should all be ashamed of yourselves. This is sickening.
Safety of people.
I'm going to walk right out and kill you.
It's about safety.
You guys know what it is.
You wouldn't let the cops pick it now, would you?
Separate vote on 12.2. It's been requested by a member. Any Any further comments on the planning minutes?
7.1, which is current practices with respect to the protection of agricultural lands and sustainable development in relation to provincial projects and excess soil management practices. Just seeking clarification that we are not changing.
See you next meeting and everyone after that.
Our site
Over here.
bylaw.
Police board meeting tomorrow.
Oh, make sure everybody's in next time when we come in.
You got it all, watch out, losers!
Some home bullshit.
Thank you for the live stream.
Have a responsibility to
Councillor Clark, did you finish
not
your
doing your job.
remarks?
So it's item 7.1, it speaks to the protection of agricultural lands and sustainable development in relationship to provincial projects and excess.
Does anyone remember Walker did in this room?
We have spent a great deal of time.
Walker
in
didn't
this
ring any
council
bells
and the
25
past
years
council
ago?
Developing
Oh,
site
people
alteration
died.
bylaws to protect
I hope you
agricultural
sleep well tonight, knowing that's your responsibility.
agricultural lands from the importing of materials that is now being placed on those lands. I'm just wanting to verify that the city of Hamilton is not changing that site alteration bylaw in any way.
Welcome to Walker then.
I think General Manager Robichaud, please.
Madam Chairman, to the councillor. The councillor is correct. This is an information report only. There are no changes to the existing site alteration bylaw proposed or contained in this staff report. Thank you.
And just one further clarification, can I understand, is the province proposing changes that would, in legislation, that would impact the site alteration bylaw, which incidentally, Deputy Mayor, has been adopted by many municipalities across the province of Ontario, citing the good work of the city of Hamilton?
Through you, Madam Chairman, to the councillor, that is correct. The province has been having consultation around changes to site alteration bylaws in terms of trying to provide clarity and standardization. But until such time as the province changes the legislation and staff determine there is a need to update or revise our bylaw, the existing bylaw will remain in force and effect as adopted by City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Welcome. Any further speakers on the planning minutes? Seeing none, we've asked, Councillor Casares asked for a separate vote, and then we'll go back to the report in full. 12.2, please and thank you. Thank you, that carries 12 to 2. Back to the planning report, the minutes in full. We can have a vote, please. There, thank you, that carries 14 to 0. We're moving into the Board of Health. Councillor Stadafora, may I please have a motion to do so?
Deputy Mayor, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Alex Wilson and Councillor with the Board of Health for consideration of Public Health Subcommittee minutes.
Thank you. Please raise of hands, please, to enable that movement. Carried. 7.7, Public Health Subcommittee minutes of May 20th, PHSC 25-005. Councillor Kretsch, may I please have a motion to receive those minutes?
So moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Alex Wilson, and this was me, which forms not cheap, so this is a report on that.
Any comment or question on that? Seeing none, an electronic vote, please. Vote is up. Thank you, 14 to 0. Councillor Spatafor, may I have a motion to rise from the Board of Health?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Alex Wilson, that the Board of Health rise as council to report and confirm the actions taken in the Board of Health.
Thank you. Please indicate your support with a raise of hand. Thank you, that carries. We're on to items for consideration. There are none. We have motions. 9.1, ensuring proactive decision-making and strengthened project oversight. Councillor Francis, I understand you would like to defer, but I'll leave you to advise us.
That's correct. I'd like to defer this to the June 11th General Issues Committee meeting, just in the absence of time, with the absences coming up at noon. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I need to seek the approval of this body?
Yes, we'd also need a seconder, I believe.
I'll second it. Show of hands or electronic vote? Show of hands. Everybody is approving. Thank you. We're on to 9.2, Committee of Adjustment. Councillor Jackson, would you please present your motion?
I will, Deputy Mayor Maureen Wilson, moved by myself, seconded by the actual Chair of the Selection Committee, Ward 12, Councillor Craig Cassar. Committee of Adjustment, whereas a member of the Committee of Adjustment has...
Sorry, Councillor Jackson, a quick point of order before you move to the next item. I apologize for interrupting you, but I don't want to wait until we go too far away. It just occurred to me that we just asked to defer that item to the General Issues Committee, and I think it's actually a referral, not a deferral, if I could just clarify that.
It's a referral, Deputy Mayor. We'll make sure that's reflected in the minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Craig.
Apologies, Councillor Jackson, sorry.
Thank you. You have the floor, Councillor.
In light of this morning, I'll take the apology, Councillor Craig. Thank you. Moved by myself again, seconded by the actual Chair of the Selection Committee, Ward 12, Councillor Craig Cassar, Committee of Adjustment. Whereas a member of the Committee of Adjustment sadly has passed away, creating a vacancy on this committee. Therefore be it resolved that the Selection Committee for agencies, boards, and subcommittees be requested to fill the citizen appointee vacancy on the Committee of Adjustment. The only reason why I'm moving it is with Councillor Cassar out of the city the last couple of weeks. Clerks wanted to make sure that I was here as a member of the subcommittee, Selection Committee, Deputy Mayor Maureen Wilson, to move it and ensure it was placed before us today. May I just go further to say this is a very sad announcement. A wonderful member of the Glanbrook community, Vern Gaudier, who served in so many volunteer capacities. Councillor Tadison knew him almost from the beginning of their friendship many years ago. I'll let Councillor Tadison speak if he wishes to further. I'm just asking for some latitude. Councillor Wilson, I know this is just about moving ahead, requesting to fill the vacancy, but something needs to be said. Vern was, he was probably one of the most honest individuals I had ever met, and all his volunteer capacity was serving thousands of people across the city, primarily in his Glanbrook area. We recently just had the naming of his, of the mezzanine, the Vern Gaudier mezzanine at the Glanbrook Arena, thanks to the unanimous support of the Facilities Naming Subcommittee chaired by Councillor Cassar. And I just want to say that Vern was a proud member of the Committee of Adjustment. He was so very happy and honored to get back on the Committee of Adjustment, and sadly a serious illness overtook him over the last few months, and he recently passed away